Hey everyone, and welcome to my review for House of the Dragon Season 1, Episode 10, The Black Queen. So that's it for Season 1, and they definitely finished on a strong note. This was another excellent episode with some truly incredible moments. Although I didn't love everything, I was thoroughly entertained and satisfied with this finale, feeling a whirlwind of emotions throughout. But before getting into my top 5 moments of the night, honorable mentions go to the many minor houses named all episode, like the houses Celtigar, Darkland, Massey, Bar-Emin, and others, as well as Rhaenyra doing everything herself for her daughter, with the midwives and silent sisters simply watching on. There's also the painted table scene, Daemon with the dragon Vermithor, which to me felt like he was training it, and getting it used to human contact so it'll be more willing to take on a new rider like his daughter. Then finally, I enjoyed watching Jacaerys continue to be a dutiful son and heir, trying his best at everything he does. Now, for the 5th best moment of the night, I went with Corlys waking and having an honest discussion with Rhaenys. This was a really great scene between two actors I've really enjoyed all season long. I was surprised to see Rhaenys convincing him to join the Blacks since she was so apprehensive all episode, but I really hope that on some level it means she believed Rhaenyra when she denied involvement in Laenor's death. But the truth is, they really didn't have much of a choice but to back her, as their granddaughters are now their only family and legacy, and doing anything other than helping the Blacks puts them in mortal danger. I was also just happy in general to have Corlys back, as he's one of the characters I want to know more about. Moving on to the 4th best moment, I chose Daemon planning for war. Although I dislike Otto Hightower, I respect him for having a plan and preparations ready for the inevitable, and basically the same thing happened this episode with Daemon Targaryen. Despite his many flaws, when they heard about Viserys, he was ready to go. I don't think he had a formal plan ready, but he had all the names and numbers ready to go for any eventuality. He immediately saw to the island's security and started making plans to gather allies. However, similar to what happened with Alicent slowing down the Greens, Rhaenyra slowed down the Blacks and stopped Daemon from doing what they would end up doing anyway. On the other hand, I guess it was good that Rhaenyra showed restraint since that's what convinced Rhaenys, but I was disappointed she had absolutely no plans or preparations for this eventuality. Seeing her so unsure and seemingly considering Aegon's terms of peace in front of her supporters to me just seemed like a monumental mistake and really bad for morale. However, considering everything she went through this episode, the stress she must have felt, and the toll taken upon her both physically and mentally, her behavior is certainly understandable. Daemon also, in spite of being right about many aspects of strategy, went too far on a number of occasions, not only physically assaulting the queen, but also trying to take over for Rhaenyra and bully her into agreement, instead of empowering her with information and calmly making clear, concise arguments for why his plans must be put in place. Now, for the 3rd best moment of the episode, I went with another of these scenes that were so uncomfortable and difficult to sit through, and that's the birthing scene where Rhaenyra had a stillborn daughter, Visenya. My god, was this horrifying. At one point I simply had to look away, and by the end I had tears in my eyes. What a terrible thing for Rhaenyra to go through, especially the way it all went down, hearing the news of her father and the usurper, being so distraught she went into early labor, and then going through the entire process alone. It's remarkable how physically resilient and tough she truly is, as this is not the first time she's gone through painful hardships. It was also chaotic, with her speaking to her kids while in clear distress, and Daemon planning the war while she screams in agony. It was awful, and yet at the same time amazing and powerful to watch. For the 2nd best moment of the night, I went with the crowning scene, where the Black supporter Cargyle twin arrived with the crown of Viserys, and pledged himself to Rhaenyra. I absolutely loved this scene, though if I'm being honest, I think the reason it hit me so hard was because I was devastated from all the Rhaenyra birthing stuff, and desperate for something good to happen. And so when he arrived and made a big show about supporting her, while we looked on with those cool camera shots, and then Daemon placing the crown and kneeling, it was exactly what I needed. I'm also very much enjoying all the focus on the Kingsguard, getting to know many of them, even if it's through brief interactions. I will say though, I think Daemon dropped the ball a little as he so easily believed Eric Cargyle, whereas I think they should have been a bit more suspicious of assassination, which Daemon did talk about, saying that the Greens would launch a stealth attack. This also would have been a great opportunity for Rhaenys to speak on his behalf about being saved from the Red Keep, but it all worked out in the end, and to me this scene really did turn out excellent. Now, for the best moment of the episode, I went with the sky battle between Aemond and Lucerys, officially beginning the Dance of the Dragon Civil War. This was a truly amazing scene, especially that initial shot of Vhagar flying overhead. I really loved seeing their maneuvering and yelling commands, as well as the incredible size difference between the dragons. Everything about this was awesome, including the confrontation in Storm's End, with Aemond's cool eye reveal, and Boros Baratheon being just as unpleasant as I expected. I will say I was pretty disappointed they cut out the scene where a Baratheon daughter makes fun of Aemon and goads him into attacking Lucerys, but I guess it wasn't necessary, especially since they went in a different direction for Aemon's motivation. As in the books, he was more of a psychopath who wanted to kill Lucerys all along and was proud of it afterwards. And while I think I personally would have enjoyed a more psychopathic Aemon, it is interesting that in the show it happened by accident, as both riders lost control of their dragons. When this happened, I was reminded of Viserys talking about how their control of dragons was an illusion, which in this moment definitely seemed to be the case. So those were my top 5 moments for the finale, and I have to say I don't really have any major criticisms, though there were certain choices I don't fully agree with, like making Aemon kill Lucerys by accident, having Daemon threaten the Kingsguard into compliance, and having Rhaenyra so reluctant to accept the inevitable, but nothing that really soured my enjoyment of this episode. And that last shot of Rhaenyra, feeling all the loss of the last few days in one moment, losing all compassion and becoming the war machine she was in the books, was really powerful and made me incredibly excited for season 2. Now, for the best kill of the night, I once again go back to the death of Lucerys during the battle above Shipbreaker Bay. Not only was this incredibly shocking and gruesome to witness, but everything leading up to it had my emotions on edge. I had a deep sense of dread throughout this episode as I had a feeling how it would end. And when Luke was sent to Storm's End, my stomach was in knots. I was tense and so scared for the boy. Then it all went down with a dragon fight he had no chance of winning and was taken out in one bite. Absolutely brutal. As for the best quote of the night, I go back to the crowning scene when Eric Cargyle said, "I swear toward the Queen with all my strength. I give my blood for hers. I shall take no wife, hold no lands, father no children. I shall guard her secrets, obey her commands, ride at her side and defend her name and honor." So that's it for my review of Season 1, Episode 10, The Black Queen. Overall, this was a great way to end an amazing season, so I'll give this episode a 9 out of 10, which is also the score I'll be giving this season as a whole. Certainly there were many things I could nitpick or wasn't sold on 100%, but in the end, what I remember most about this season was the incredible acting, writing, set design, costumes, and direction, as it was all expertly handled. And as a result, I can honestly and happily say House of the Dragon is a worthy successor to Game of Thrones, and very much worthy of being associated with George R.R. Martin and A Song of Ice and Fire. I'm also looking forward to reviewing future seasons of this show, and we'll be working on a season recap in the next couple weeks, so be on the lookout for that if you're interested. But what did you all think of the finale and season as a whole? What did you think of the dragon battle, and are you excited for next season? Let me know in the comments, and for the last time, I'll remind you to check out my spoiler-free Prelude to the House of the Dragon video, the spoiler-filled Dance of the Dragons video, my World of Thrones geography video, and a beginner's guide to the entire history of A Song of Ice and Fire in 20 minutes. So that's it for now, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next season. A special thanks to all those who contribute to CivilizationEx. If you'd like to help the channel, be sure to give a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and check out the links below, or else go to patreon.com/CivilizationEx, where you can gain early access to videos, vote on future content, and watch the Patreon-only series, Heroes of Lore and Legend.